Let's unlock some history at the Faulkner County Museum in Conway, Arkansas. If buildings could talk, this one would definitely have a story to tell. Its history is just as interesting as the stories and memories it holds. Come on in.
The mission of the Faulkner County Museum is actually to educate the public about the history and the prehistory of the geographic region that became Faulkner County. The key is very significant because it is the sole surviving artifact that is associated with the building when it served as the Faulkner County Jail. In 1938, when they rehabilitated the building, they took the jail cells out, they being the WPA, took the jail cells out and took some walls out downstairs and painted everything and put shelving up. When the jail moved out and the library moved in, because that's what the rehabilitation was all about, the jail gave the key to the librarian, and I think it might have been Dula Reed. I'm not sure. It may have been somebody earlier than Dula. In 1995, when the library moved out of this building and into its current facility on Tyler Street, then librarian Ruth Voss handed the key over to the director of the Faulkner County Museum, Dr. George Thompson. So the key has actually remained with the building for the entire history of the building, and it is the sole artifact from the 1896 time period.
Downstairs contains a timeline of Faulkner County, but the second level that once held jail cells now holds an important element in local history.
Asa Robinson is the survey engineer that started the laying out where the track goes before the Civil War. Then he finished it after it. In the 70s, when they tore his cabin down, they found that trunk in it, and in it is one of his original partners. It's like 150 years old.
And that's one of the...
His drawings where the train is going to run from Little Rock to Fort Smith. It's not an accurate one because the finished product got turned into the state or the county or somebody, and this is one of his work copies. So it's been restored and put up there. Missouri Pacific colors are Jinx blue, yellow, and gray. So the banisters and the rails are Jinx blue, yellow, and gray.
Well, without the railroad, Conway might have existed, but it would have been somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Okay, Conway is here because the railroad is here. So Asa P. Robinson was a cartographer, actually. He wasn't just an engineer, he was a cartographer, surveyor. And so he comes to Arkansas. He's hired by the railroad to survey the route from Little Rock to Fort Smith. And this is in 1869, 1870, that time period. He uses the route that goes along the Arkansas River, parallels the Arkansas River. Some of it's the old military road, some of it's the Butterfield Stage Trail area. But when you're planning out a railroad, you have to think about grade, and you have to think about curves, plan all that in, and you have to kind of go the path of least resistance along the route. When he got to this area, Conway's a low spot. It kind of sits in a bowl. And then you have to get up and over the Cadron Ridge to go on to Marlton. Right here is about the last good flat spot before you start climbing to get over the Cadron Ridge. And he was a smart guy. He knew that they were going to need some helper engines. And these little helper engines and helper towns are real common, especially in the mountains, where you could put a siding out here and you could put a couple of extra engines, and then as the train came through, you could either hook them on the front or the back and use them to help up over it. So this was basically a helper spot. Conway Station came about because we were going to need help getting the trains up and over Cadron Ridge. Conway was built around the railroad because of the railroad. and Conway might have been somewhere else. It wouldn't have been like what we have today, because the railroad is what built this place.
This is Conway, late 40s, after World War II, when they were both steam and diesels running. That's why we've got the station on there. It was torn down in the 70s.
The trains are all built and staffed by volunteers. Their control center is much more elaborate than the switch boxes I had as a kid. While the first half of the train display is modeled after a 1940s Park Rider Street leading into downtown Conway, the other half of the room showcases the museum's train personnel's imaginations and heart's desires. If you have some little train lovers in your family, or even some not so little ones, you will want to make the stop at the Faulkner County Museum. Once you've finished with the trains and exhibits inside, you'll want to check out the other displays and structures surrounding the museum. You can't miss the 1850s dog trot cabin. It was disassembled from the east side of the county and meticulously put back together almost 50 years ago when the building was still the library. It is the oldest and definitely best example of this classic style of architecture in the county. In front of the cabin is the Girl Scout Centennial Depository, which holds a time capsule from 1973. If you're in Conway in 2073, stop by for the reopening. Behind the cabin is an example of historical agriculture that would have been common in this area. There is an heirloom garden and a sorghum shed. The rest of the gardens surrounding the museum are thanks to the tireless efforts and volunteers of the Faulkner County Master Gardeners. So if you're passing through Conway, stop into the Faulkner County Museum and unlock some history only in Arkansas. The Faulkner County Museum is located at 801 Locust Street in Conway, Arkansas.